Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Thursday, February the 15th, 2024. In today's detailed video, we are going to keep an eye on the west because there's more significant heavy rainfall, heavy snow, strong winds that could lead to more power outages, flood concerns, as well as heavy mountain snowfall for the Sierras. This is a big deal that we really need to keep a close eye on as more atmospheric rivers hit the west. So this look at the European model for Thursday afternoon and evening, and as we can see, there is snow falling across portions of the Intermountain West here, especially for the Rockies, including for Wyoming. This blue area indicates that snow. We talked about this snowstorm yesterday in yesterday's video, how it's going to be a quick mover and it's going to bring a couple of inches of snow. Still seems to be the case today with more rainfall impacting the west. So putting this into motion, as you all can see, today and tomorrow is our reprieve days. Dry weather, quiet, not much wind to speak of, but it comes in this weekend. And let's kind of fast forward that. So today and tomorrow look good. And then coming into for Saturday is when we get our next storm systems, our next storm sequence. Moderate to heavy rainfall, increasing winds. And yes, this is going to be a much wetter system than what we just recently had last night, which, by the way, we only had 1/10 of an inch here. So really somewhat of a bust. Some of the models were indicating maybe about 4/10 of an inch or more for my area, but we only ended up getting 1/10. So what a bummer on that one, but I don't think we're going to see a bust with our next system as it swings through on Saturday. More rain for the deep south here, but no snow, which is good news for a lot of you all that live in the deep south and the southeast. But look at this. That goes through, and then look at what we got. For Monday, yeah, Sunday night into Monday really is the big day. That's when we get the atmospheric river, moderate to heavy rainfall at times. And yes, the winds will certainly be stronger with this one. We can see wind advisories get issued, more down trees and power lines. Heavy mountain snowfall for the higher elevations. This is going to be a warmer system, so we're looking at snow levels right around, say, 6,000 to 7,000 feet, unfortunately. So any snow that did fall at lower elevations, like, say, 4,000 or 5,000 feet, might get melted away a little bit of this next atmospheric river, and that could exacerbate some of the flooding on our small creeks, streams, rivers as well could become elevated with this next one. That rolls through, but look at it still showers on Monday into Tuesday. Look at this, maybe some heavy rain at times, in fact, for Wednesday into Thursday. And then that moves out, and then we start finally drying out. But during this whole period, really not a lot of weather going on across the Midwest and the eastern U.S. In fact, looking pretty quiet. In fact, completely quiet in a respite way for the 21st of February, while California, Oregon, and Washington take in on the storms. And then maybe the pattern changes after that towards the very end of next week. That's Friday into Saturday, the 23rd and the 24th, where we might get some cooler air moving in out of the Great Lakes region. But there's something else that I wanted to show you all. But first, we'll have to look at the snow and rainfall totals, and then we'll look at those temperatures from the ensembles. Speaking of snowfall totals, yep, there's going to be quite a bit of snowfall, especially over Wyoming. Colorado is going to take in on the lead here, anywhere between 12 to 18 inches of snow. For many of the valley spots, for the higher elevations, could see as much as 1 to 2 feet of snow. Now, yes, the Sierras over here in California, especially for the higher elevations, you're likely to see about 3 to 6 feet of snowfall through the middle of next week. So, yeah, if you're going to the mountains, please do not go, because if you do, you might get stuck up there for a while because of all the snow on the roads, road closures possible, avalanche danger as well. Keep that in mind. So the system that is currently moving through, or the next system that does roll through across the upper Midwest and the Northeast, could bring an additional amount of snowfall, maybe another 3 to 6 inches. Some of the higher elevations here of West Virginia might end up getting 8+ inches of snowfall for this weekend. So more snow is on the way, and then after that goes by, things turn off. The weather gets quieter, no rain, no snow, really no active weather to talk about for the eastern U.S., except for the west that is going to keep up on all this active weather. And that's the weather pattern that we're kind of entering. So here's a look at the total amounts of rain in QPF amounts. You can see for the deep south here and for Florida, maybe 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Not really a big flood threat, fortunately. That's the good news. But for California, on this map, takes it on the lead. Possibly some areas might see up to a foot of rainfall through the middle of next week. Some of the coastal range mountains, some of the orographic favored areas could really get a lot of rainfall, and that's why the Weather Prediction Center maintains a slight risk for heavy rainfall along the coastal range mountains of the Northern California into Central California, like the Big Sur Coast, San Luis Obispo, that geography area is when we can see a lot of the problems. So now that we talked about rainfall, what about those temperature anomalies? Okay, there are big pattern changes coming as far as the temperature department goes. Not so much in terms of precipitation, right? So as you all know, that as we go forward in time, we have a negative NAO right now. That means colder weather across the eastern U.S. because we have more troughing over Greenland, a large-scale flow here. So we get more northwesterly flow that brings in more cooler temperatures from higher latitudes, right? But once we get into the middle to the end of next week, the NAO is likely to become strongly positive. And what that means is we get more ridging over the east coast of the U.S., including Greenland. Actually, not really over Greenland. We get more troughing over Greenland with a ridge that kind of tries to bubble up here over Hudson Bay. And once that occurs, look at our temperatures. They're going to shift maybe towards the end of the month. One little last reprieve here. And then once we go into the following week of, say, February the 25th through the 27th, look at these temperatures really going to warm up pretty dramatically. Above average temperatures potentially here on the Euro. If we look at the last run of the 0Z, you can see a similar outcome there. We'll see how this pans out in future ensemble model runs from the Euro, but a pretty strong signal for cold weather back west and warmer weather back east with dry conditions. Really not a good signal for people that want some rainy weather or snowy weather. No snow, no rain under this environment. In fact, if we look at the precipitation anomaly forecast, looking very dry, to say the least, across much of the deep south. In fact, portions of Louisiana might see anywhere between about 1.75 inches to 3 inches below average per 15 days. That is pretty ironic. That is concerning, okay? And despite of an El Nino pattern that we're in, while the West gets above average and even Florida gets above average precipitation. So for the most part, quiet and dry for the U.S., except for the West. The reason why for that is if we go forward, you can see that trough moves out of the area by the time we go into the middle of next week. And guess what? We get one more trough, that's cooler, drier air, and then look what happens. A pattern changes where we get lots of troughing back west, we get ridging back east. It's going to be another storm sequence maybe waiting to happen for the West to end out February to begin early March. Well, anyways, if you found this video very helpful, please consider subscribing if you're new to the channel, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media. As always, I will be back in the office tomorrow with another detailed weather forecast update. We might even do a live stream. We'll have to see on how models handle the weekend and early next week for some active weather for the West. It'll be a big deal. So if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.